12 famous Hollywood actresses of the 80s who have aged badly. They were Hollywood royalty, beautiful, glamorous, and seemingly untouchable. The stars of the 80s ruled the red carpet, defined an era of beauty, and broke hearts on screen. But fame is a cruel mistress, and time is often unforgiving. Not every cinematic fairy tale ends with happily ever after. From shocking physical transformations to tragic personal downfalls, these stories will leave you stunned. Welcome to Prestige Buzz. Today, we're looking at icons who transition from the pinnacle of perfection to the harsh reality of aging under the spotlight. Before we dive in, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you never miss a deep dive into Hollywood's biggest secrets. 1. Linda Hamilton. Linda Hamilton's journey is a profound testament to the fact that the fiercest battles are often the ones fought in the quiet corners of the mind. While she rose to international fame as Sarah Connor, the steely-eyed protector in the Terminator franchise, her off-screen life was a turbulent struggle against bipolar disorder, a condition that remained undiagnosed for the better part of 2 decades. During her peak years in the 80s and 90s, the public saw a woman of incredible physical discipline and grit, but behind the scenes, Linda was experiencing extreme highs of mania and lows of paralyzing depression. This emotional volatility made the demanding nature of Hollywood even more treacherous, leading her to seek solace in alcohol and drugs as a way to self-medicate and find a semblance of equilibrium. The physical toll of her career was equally grueling. For Terminator 2: Judgment Day, Linda underwent a radical physical transformation, becoming one of the first female action stars to showcase a truly shredded, tactical physique. However, maintaining that image while her mental health was in shambles proved nearly impossible. The white noise of her untreated condition eventually bled into her personal life, contributing to the dissolution of her marriages, including her high-profile union with director James Cameron. She later described herself during those years as unpredictable and difficult, though she lacked the medical context at the time to understand that her behavior was a symptom of a chemical imbalance rather than a character flaw. 2. Tara Reid. Tara Reid was the definitive it girl of the late 90s. Her breakout as Vicky in American Pie, 1999, and her role as Bunny in The Big Lebowski gave her a unique blend of mainstream appeal and cult classic credibility. By the early 2000s, she was a staple of the Hollywood social scene, but the industry's obsession with physical perfection soon took a toll. The botched procedures. In 2004, seeking to even out her physique, Reid underwent a breast augmentation and abdominal liposuction. The results were physically devastating, causing significant rippling of the skin and a herniated appearance in her stomach. The private trauma became a public nightmare during a 2004 red carpet wardrobe malfunction. The resulting tabloid coverage was merciless, transitioning from celebrating her beauty to mocking her scars. This era of body shaming effectively stalled her career as a leading lady. Struggle and survival. The emotional fallout led to a public struggle with alcohol, resulting in a 2008 stay at the Promises Treatment Center. While the A-list roles dried up, Reid demonstrated remarkable grit. She pivoted to reality TV and eventually found a massive, unexpected resurgence in 2013 with the Sharknado franchise. The series became a global cult phenomenon, proving her ability to lean into campy, fun roles that resonated with a new generation. Today, Reid is a producer and actor who speaks candidly about the pressures of fame. She has transformed from a tabloid cautionary tale into a symbol of resilience, continuing to work on her own terms in a notoriously fickle industry. 3. Kelly LeBrock. Kelly LeBrock's meteoric rise to fame was catalyzed by her background as a world-class supermodel, famously becoming the face of Christian Dior at 19 and pioneering the iconic "Don't Hate Me Because I'm Beautiful" campaign for Pantene. Her transition to cinema was equally explosive, as she became the ultimate 1980s goddess through her roles as Charlotte in The Woman in Red and the magically conjured Lisa in Weird Science. However, the intense scrutiny of her personal life, specifically her tumultuous and highly publicized 1994 divorce from action star Steven Seagal, led her to view Hollywood fame as a source of trauma rather than success. In a radical act of self-preservation, LeBrock ran away from the industry, moving to a remote ranch in California's Santa Ynez Valley to raise her 3 children away from the paparazzi. For over 2 decades, she lived without a television, trading diamonds for dirt to become a self-sufficient farmer who grows her own food and makes her own cheese. Today, the 65-year-old rarely returns to the spotlight except for causes she holds dear, such as children's cancer charities and animal welfare through the Vanderpump Dog Foundation. She remains a symbol of resilience, viewing her decision to walk away from fame not as a defeat, but as a victory for her family and her own peace of mind. 4. Kathleen Turner. Kathleen Turner's ascent in the 1980s was nothing short of meteoric. Following her electrifying debut in Body Heat, 1981, she became the decade's definitive leading lady, blending a classic Hollywood femme fatale aesthetic with a sharp, modern wit. Her versatility was her greatest asset. She could pivot from the gritty noir of Crimes of Passion to the screwball adventure of Romancing the Stone and the surreal comedy of Peggy Sue Got Married, the latter earning her an Academy Award nomination. At the height of her fame, she was one of the most bankable stars in the world, known for a commanding screen presence and that unmistakable, smoky baritone voice. However, the onset of rheumatoid arthritis, RA, in 1992 was a brutal turning point. At the time, the medical community's understanding of RA was limited, and the treatments, primarily high-dose steroids, caused significant physical changes, including weight gain and facial swelling. Because she chose to keep her diagnosis private to protect her career, the public and the industry cruelly misread these changes as the result of alcoholism or botched plastic surgery. The reality was a daily battle for basic mobility. At one point, she was told she might never walk again. Turner's eventual comeback was a masterclass in resilience. She pivoted to the stage, earning Tony nominations for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, proving that her talent wasn't tied to a specific look. Today, she is a vocal advocate for RA awareness and a celebrated teacher of the acting craft, having successfully reclaimed her narrative from the tabloid gossip of the 90s. 5. Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger's ascent to superstardom is a fascinating study in the contrast between public perception and private reality. Emerging as a top model in New York during the 1970s, she eventually pivoted to Hollywood, where her breakout role as Domino Pedici in the 1983 Bond film Never Say Never Again cemented her status as a global sex symbol. However, behind the untouchable persona was a woman who had struggled with debilitating shyness since childhood, a trait so severe that her parents once had her tested for autism. As her fame grew, so did the intensity of her agoraphobia. During the height of her career in the late 80s and early 90s, Basinger would often suffer from glass-shattering panic attacks. One of her most famous episodes occurred in a health food store, where she became so overwhelmed by the presence of other people that she sat on the floor and cried, unable to drive herself home. This internal battle made the demands of the red carpet and press junkets feel like a gauntlet of terror. Her life took a dramatic turn in 1989 when she purchased the small town of Bristolton, Georgia, for $20 million, hoping to turn it into a tourist destination. The investment failed spectacularly, and when she later backed out of the film Boxing Helena, a resulting lawsuit forced her into Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Despite these crushing blows, Basinger staged a massive comeback. Her performance in LA Confidential, 1997, was a masterclass in vulnerability, earning her an Academy Award and proving that her talent far outstripped her bombshell image. Today, Basinger remains a staunch advocate for animal rights and a symbol of resilience, showing that one can navigate the brightest spotlights while carrying the heaviest of internal burdens. 6. Brigitte Nielsen. Brigitte Nielsen's trajectory is a fascinating study of 1980s excess, European arthouse beginnings, and modern-day resilience. Before she became an action movie icon, she was a high-fashion muse, discovered by photographer Helmut Newton and walking runways for Giorgio Armani and Gianni Versace. Her striking, statuesque frame, standing at 6 feet 1 inch, and her peroxide blonde crop challenged traditional feminine beauty standards of the era, making her a superheroine figure long before the MCU era. Her personal life often overshadowed her talent. Her marriage to Sylvester Stallone lasted only 19 months but became one of the most documented unions in Hollywood history, culminating in the power couple energy of Rocky IV. Following the fallout of that marriage, Nielsen's career shifted toward Europe and reality television, where she became a pioneer of the genre. She didn't just participate, she dominated the format, appearing in everything from the UK's Celebrity Big Brother to her own VH1 shows. Nielsen's most profound narrative shift occurred in her 50s. While her battle with sobriety was public and painful, she reclaimed her narrative through her fifth marriage to Mattia Desi. In 2018, at the age of 54, Nielsen gave birth to her daughter, Frida, sparking a worldwide conversation about late-stage motherhood. This milestone coincided with her cinematic return as Ludmila Drago in Creed II, proving she could still command the screen with the same icy intensity that made her a star decades prior. Today, she is viewed less as a tabloid fixture and more as a survivor who navigated the brutal highs and lows of fame with her dignity and her sense of humor intact. 7. Kirstie Alley. Kirstie Alley was far more than just a sitcom star. She was a trailblazer who navigated the treacherous waters of Hollywood with a sharp wit and an unapologetic sense of self. After her breakout role as the Vulcan officer Lieutenant Saavik in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, she landed the career-defining role of Rebecca Howe on Cheers. Stepping in after Shelley Long's departure was a monumental task, yet Alley didn't just fill the void, she redefined the show's dynamic, earning both an Emmy and a Golden Globe for her performance. Her chemistry with Ted Danson and her ability to play high-strung yet vulnerable characters made her a household name. Beyond the bar in Boston, Alley conquered the silver screen with the blockbuster Look Who's Talking franchise, proving her bankability as a leading lady. However, as the 2000s approached, the media's relentless focus on her physical appearance became a hallmark of her public life. Rather than shrinking away, Alley leaned into the narrative. She turned her personal struggles into provocative art with Fat Actress and became one of the most successful celebrity spokespeople in advertising history. In her later years, she remained a polarizing yet beloved figure, known for her candid political views and her stint on Dancing with the Stars, where she once again captured the public's heart with her resilience. 8. Daryl Hannah. Beyond her status as a cinematic icon of the 1980s, Daryl Hannah's career is a fascinating blend of high-concept sci-fi, environmental activism, and a quiet defiance of industry norms. Rising to fame as the replicant Pree in Blade Runner, 1982, and the enchanting mermaid Madison in Splash, 1984, she possessed a 5'10" stature and a hauntingly beautiful screen presence that made her a natural fit for otherworldly roles. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Hannah often leaned into the eccentric. She performed her own gymnastics in Blade Runner and brought a grounded, soulful quality to the Steel Magnolia ensemble of Steel Magnolias, 1989, as the shy, transformative Annelle. In the 2000s, she experienced a massive career resurgence through Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill volumes, where she traded her ethereal persona for the cold, eye-patched assassin Elle Driver. This role reminded audiences of her range and physicality, proving she could transition from the it girl of the 80s to a formidable character actress. Off-screen, Hannah has been a tireless advocate for the planet, living in a solar-powered home and driving a car that runs on biodiesel. 9. Liza Minnelli. Liza Minnelli is more than just Hollywood royalty, she is a living testament to the show must go on mentality. While her 1973 Academy Award for Cabaret cemented her status as a powerhouse, her career is defined by a rare EGOT-adjacent legacy, having won an Oscar, an Emmy, 2 Tonys, and a Grammy Legend Award. Beyond the glitz, her personal life was often a mirror of her mother Judy Garland's struggles, marked by 4 high-profile marriages and a lifelong battle with the shadow of her parents' fame. Her health battles have been particularly harrowing. In 2000, after contracting viral encephalitis, doctors predicted she would spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair and might never speak again. Defying medical expectations, she underwent grueling physical therapy and vocal training, eventually returning to the stage for her Liza's Back concerts. This resilience is a hallmark of her character. She has survived multiple hip replacements, knee surgeries, and even a double pneumonia scare. In the later stages of her career, Liza became a beloved pop culture icon for a new generation, notably through her self-deprecating and hilarious role as Lucille Ostero on Arrested Development. Even as she stepped back from the grueling schedule of live tours, her influence on Broadway and the drag community remained monumental. 10. Victoria Principal. Victoria Principal's trajectory is a masterclass in self-reinvention, moving far beyond the glitz of South Fork Ranch. Born in Japan to a military family, her early life was nomadic, fostering a resilience that served her well in the cutthroat environment of Hollywood. Before her career-defining role in Dallas, she actually stepped away from acting to become a high-powered talent agent, gaining a behind-the-curtain perspective on the industry that most actors never see. This business acumen was the true engine behind her later success. She didn't just play Pamela Ewing, she negotiated a contract that allowed her the freedom to pursue outside ventures. While her marriage to Dr. Harry Glassman fueled tabloid speculation about her appearance, Principal used the scrutiny as a catalyst. She understood that her look was her brand, and in 1989, she launched Principal Secret. Unlike many celebrity vanity projects, she was deeply involved in the formulations and marketing, eventually scaling the business to over $1 billion in career sales. Her transition was so successful that she eventually left Dallas at the height of its popularity, famously walking away from a massive payday because she felt the character's arc had concluded. 11. Carrie Fisher. Beyond the Bonds and the Blaster, Carrie Fisher was a singular force of nature who redefined what it meant to be a Hollywood icon. Born into Hollywood royalty as the daughter of Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher, she spent her life navigating the dizzying heights of fame and the crushing depths of personal turmoil. While Star Wars made her a household name at 19, it was her sharp-witted, unflinching honesty about her struggles with bipolar disorder and substance abuse that cemented her legacy as a pioneer. The pen as a weapon. Fisher was arguably more prolific with a pen than a lightsaber. She didn't just survive her experiences, she curated them into art. Her semi-autobiographical novel Postcards from the Edge, 1987, was a groundbreaking look at addiction and the complex mother-daughter dynamic, eventually becoming a hit film starring Meryl Streep. As one of Hollywood's most sought-after script doctors, she spent years behind the scenes punching up dialogue for blockbusters like Sister Act, The Wedding Singer, and even the Star Wars prequels, often without a public credit. A legacy of advocacy. Her refusal to be a quiet celebrity changed the landscape for mental health. By speaking openly about her manic episodes and her relationship with Gary, her French bulldog and emotional support animal, she stripped away the stigma for millions. 12. Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway didn't just act, she commanded the screen with a ferocious, intellectual intensity that defined the new Hollywood era of the 1960s and 70s. Born Dorothy Faye Dunaway in Florida, she began her career on Broadway before skyrocketing to international fame as the outlaw Bonnie Parker in Bonnie and Clyde, 1967. Her performance was a cultural reset, blending high-fashion elegance with a dangerous, rebellious spirit. She followed this with a string of iconic roles, including the sleek insurance investigator in The Thomas Crown Affair and the tragic Evelyn Mulwray in Roman Polanski's noir masterpiece Chinatown. Her career reached its zenith with Network, 1976, where her portrayal of Diana Christensen, a cold, ratings-obsessed TV executive, earned her an Academy Award for Best Actress. However, the trajectory of her career shifted following the 1981 biopic Mommy Dearest. While her performance as Joan Crawford has since become a cult classic, at the time, its campy intensity was polarizing and arguably led to her being typecast or viewed through a harsher lens by the industry. Hollywood's obsession with youth is a trap that even the brightest stars can't always escape. Some of these women fought back through honesty, while others retreated into privacy. Which of these transformations shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe to Prestige Buzz, and hit that notification bell for more stories from the dark side of the spotlight. Would you like me to look into the men of the 80s next? Let me know.